Well, hello there. Um, just thought I'd share something I've been looking into, AI, artificial intelligence. You all know what AI means. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you know what AI is. All right. Well, I had this idea. I got time on my hands lately. And not much coming up. It's just kind of been day in and day out, you know. Trying to find a job. I had this idea that I would retell my stories. You know, I've got quite a few of them. And they are ongoing, but they don't happen every day or every week. Sometimes not every month. You know, I don't look for it. But I learn things, and every day is a testimony, you know, of our work and our life with God, and we're moving forward. More and more, I don't like to put my face on here for whatever reasons. So I had this idea that I've got photographs. I would take, like, if I'm telling a story, like, I'm going to show you some examples in this video. They're pretty funny, of my attempts at AI, at what my idea was, and what my conclusion and some other thoughts. So I had an idea that I would take old photographs of myself, of the time period of the story I'm telling, like when I talk about the first, the sighting, the encounter with Bigfoot. I had two of them. They all happened, in the same year. I'd take a picture of myself that age, which was 27. And I thought I could just, make the photograph come to life to where I could talk my audio into it, and the photograph would act like it's speaking it. So ideally, it would look like an old picture of me come to life, speaking the words that I'm speaking. So it would have been my thoughts in my voice, but it would have been an old image of me, a photograph, and there's probably a way to do it. I'll show you some examples of that. I thought that maybe I could use AI art to recreate images of ghosts and spiritual things I've seen through my life. I had pictures. I got pictures of them. I didn't even want to talk about it, but I did get a lot of pictures of spirits when I went to England, Winchester, England, in the old 10th century cathedral in Winchester. I had a 35 millimeter camera, and I was with my son, who was probably 10? And it was just me and him there. And I took pictures of everything, and about half my pictures had ghostly images quite clearly in the and it was pretty freaky. But you know what I did? I got back to New York State, and digital images were like the new thing, and they were like horrible resolution. So I sent my negatives to have them put into a digital format, put the images on my computer, and of course the computer, like they did back in the 90s, crashed. And I mean, they crashed hard. Your entire computer just dissolved, it just stopped working. If you probably recall that. It was pretty, you could do the wrong thing on your keyboard and it would just stop working completely. So I lost the images, and I lost the negatives too. And it's just, you got to take my word for it. It's really frustrating, because that would have made a really good video. There was probably, seems like every other photograph that I took inside the cathedral, Winchester Cathedral in Winchester, England, had some ghostly image in it. And not an imagination, but very starkly spiritual. White images and of things very clearly defined. And they're gone for all time. And I had another old photograph I took of a graveyard when I was actually out playing golf with my dad. which was rare. But I took a picture of this graveyard, had an interesting old monument in it, which was next to the golf course. And that was also 35 millimeter. And the grave had some really, really cool spiritual stuff around it. Like a white, like about maybe 6 white columns coming up around the grave. If the gravestone was this, coming up like this, and then they met and they twisted and they went straight up. Really cool. Ethereal white columns that spiraled around this grave and then met and then went up straight. I can't find that. It's gone for all time. So I thought I would create some AI images of me and retell my stories and put them on a different channel. Separate the Christian stories from the other stories. So I started playing around with AI today, and here's the results I got. All right, here's another AI video attempt. This is an old photo of me when I was 27, and just about to dive into that stream behind me, where I came very close to drowning. So I thought I would make a video of that and see if I could get me telling the story at this age. I thought it'd be cool, and this is what AI came up with.
This voice is not mine, though the image is originally of me at age 27.
And I was in great shape, but not this kind of works out at the gym shape. Imagine that. Me again at 27, holding a Bible, where I lived in the woods and encountered Bigfoot for the first time, but I did not encounter this. So, as you can see, it's pretty, it's ridiculous, really, for the most part. Just ridiculous. It always seemed to age me, like the photographs of me in my 20s were supposedly me in my mid-40s or so by the looks of the face on there, in this buff Tarzan body, and it didn't look like me. It really just did some wild things. But I'm sure there's a way to do this, what I wanted to do, but I'm inclined at this point to think it's not dignified. And I don't want to be I think that AI is ruining the internet, but it is quite tempting to use it on your channel. It's very tempting. But I don't think I want to be part of that scene. I don't want to contribute to the AI pollution that's on the internet, that's infecting the internet, ruining the experience. Yeah, that's been my conclusion. It's also expensive. The AI videos are not free. You got to pay a fairly good price to use their software. If there's a free one out there, I haven't found it. Now, AI images, like if I go to, the videos were off of applications I downloaded. Now, you could just go to Chat GPT or Meta AI, there's a whole bunch of different ones that are completely free, where I could type in a prompt that says, show me a picture of Jesus sitting by a stream, smiling, holding a basset hound. I want to think my doggy's with Jesus. So, and this is an image you gave me, and it's not bad, honestly. When I first started asking for religious Christian-themed images, there was something really dark about them. I think it's just because they're unnatural. They weren't created by a human hand. I think if you draw something with a pencil or paintbrushes or what have you, you're putting yourself into it. And sometimes it comes through, just like it does with your music, your soul. Something of yourself comes through. But when you ask the computer to generate the image, it comes through dead. Something about it, the quality, isn't there. There's no spark in it at all. And they get it awful wrong sometimes. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes the AI is very impressive, in my opinion. And I'm just flashing up examples of that that I generated just for this video. Like a picture of an old man praying with a rosary. And, you can have fun with it. It wouldn't do anything. I couldn't get any of them to generate a picture of Jesus on the cross with being crucified with Roman soldiers staring up at him. And I put with the earthquake, the earth starts to quake. I was going to make a video of that. And the sun turns blood red. And Mother Mary is kneeling, weeping. And there are two men, one by either side, also crucified, just to see what it would come up with. And it wouldn't do it. It said it wouldn't create any acts of violence. And it wouldn't. The crucifixion was an act of violence. Make no mistake about it. I don't know, it's tempting to use AI in the videos, but I just don't. That's kind of like anti what my whole, I have used it sparingly, but I usually tell you this is AI. You know it's AI. It's just like AI paintings, illustrations, like when I was doing a reading of my book that I stopped because it's just way too dark. That book was not good. But I wrote it about 20 years ago, or less than, 15, 20 years ago. Not that I'm proud of, but I wrote it. I finished it. Can AI be evil? I was wondering that. Some people think the Antichrist is AI or in AI? And I don't think that's the case. I think it's just like a computer program. But I wouldn't rule it out. See, the thing with me is I stay pretty open-minded. Unless the Bible specifically says something, I take the Bible as the law, the word. It's a supernatural word. The Bible is true all the time. And all the time it's true. And that's how I take it. And it just AI is, I don't know. Something about it's not real. I'm sorry. I got problems. Don't we all? Hard to keep my concentration. I think it's better just for me just to do what I'm doing. This is not AI. This is my voice. My little place where I sit and eat my dinner, play my games. If I played video lately, I've been playing video games. What a waste of time. I practice my music here. You can see the table's worn down for me. This was my mother's table. Way back when I wound up with it, and it was in better shape with her. Not me, I'm pretty rough on things. AI, as I was saying, I don't believe that the Antichrist or Satan can inhabit AI, but I wouldn't rule it out. That's what I was saying. I believe all things are possible unless the Bible says something. That's what I was saying. Unless the Bible says this or that, which, rules out that some things may not be possible. But outside the Bible, I believe all things are possible. Highly improbable? Perhaps. But there's always some little possibility. That's how my world operates. Everything's possible. I've been through some pretty strange paranormal things and of all sorts. And I've seen God's glory, and I've felt his love, and I've heard his voice. And I know and I've seen my mom in heaven and Brian in heaven. I saw Jen just as I believe she was crossing over to the pearly gates. They were white. It was a white arched doorway. And I tried to get, all right, here's some other AI pictures. I tried to get AI to recreate some of the things in my stories, like the Bigfoot encounter in a dark room, or the image of Jen, as she stood in front of that white, it was like a white arched doorway behind her. It was really dim, but she was standing on something like a white, like a marble building, but all around the building, and the image of her was dark black void, but it was lit up with her, and she was standing there like by a gate, or like a marble fence kind of rail, and she was standing behind it like this, and behind her was an arched doorway about as big as what's behind me here, but it was arched. Oh, and she looked so wonderfully happy, and I've told that so many times. I've never seen her look so joyous and excited and happy, full of love, all good things, positive, very, very excited. My mom had the same look to her, and the glint and the twinkle in the angel's eyes that I saw, and I see, when I told my first encounter of the angels, I'm turning into a blab here where I'm just talking. I'll get back on AI. But I'm talking about real things I've seen, and I'm trying to recreate these images with AI. I can't do it. They don't even come close. The one that generated of Jen that I tried to wasn't not even close. It's better that I just draw something with pencil. You'll get a better idea, and that's what I've done in my videos. Here and there, I've drawn pencil sketches. I got a fair hand sketching with a pencil. It's better I do it that way than use AI. But when I first saw the angels, the two men in shining white robes, I looked into their eyes. They were standing maybe 25 feet away from me upstream, maybe more than that, 50 feet. How far? 50 feet, maybe a little further. Tall. I was 20 foot tall or so. But they were both looking down at me, smiling. They were looking right into my eyes, and I saw their eyes. And they had a twinkle about them, and that twinkle had the same characteristics of love, joy, excitement, humor, all good things that I saw in my mother's eyes, and I saw in Jen's demeanor and in her eyes too when I saw her. Now, when I saw my friend Brian, when we walked through, I believe it was heaven, it was a luscious garden, very colorful all around us. And he spent a long time talking to me, but I was not permitted to retain most of that conversation. Only the end of it, just like with my mom. And I'm sure there's a reason for that. I wasn't able to look over and look at Brian in the eyes, but I could see him, that he was, again, he was 18 when he was killed by a drunk driver. I was 16, and he's a short, stocky guy. Remember seeing him with a t-shirt or a flannel shirt, pack of cigarettes rolled up in his sleeves, kind of a burly 18-year-old with light brown hair, kind of curly, close cut, jeans and steel-toe boots all wore out. And a good guy, but very rough around the edges. Well, in heaven, he was tall. He was about 6 foot tall. And he had the same color hair, but it was shoulder length. And he looked good. And he didn't sound rough and tumble anymore. He sounded pretty soft-spoken. But it was him. And I know that he showed, because I relived his death through his eyes. That was his way of letting me know. Because he looked to be about 30. In a good form too, you know. He looked good. Oh. All right, AI, I don't think I'm going to use it. I don't want to be part of that scene. It's to me, it's not dignified. For me, it's not. You say you lose something in the translation. I think you lose something in the AI translation of what I'm trying to convey. I thought it was a cool idea where I'm telling a story of when I'm 30 years old. I find a picture of me 30 and I bring it to life, but it's my voice talking my words. And behind me might be some image of what pertains to the story. I thought it was a good idea, but no. So that's this video on AI. I'm not going to use it. I don't plan on using it. If I do, I'll definitely make sure people know this is AI. See, that's one thing I was going to do. If I did this, I might still. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I will definitely make it clear that this is AI image. Unless it says actual image in this video, it is AI. And the voice is mine and the words are mine to this true recounting of this experience. But I've incorporated AI. You know, when you use AI, it takes away from the credibility a little bit when you're telling a story. I definitely think it takes away from the credibility to some degree, don't you? And my stories, some of them are pretty far out there, you know, expecting people to believe what I'm saying. So I don't monetize the channel. I'm not trying to make a buck. And I'm not going to use AI because, like I said, it takes away a bit from the credibility, the authenticity of it. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And that's that. For now, that's the plan. Can AI be a tool of the devil? I believe so. Like Charles said on here, in one of the comments, I read your comments. He didn't believe the devil could possess AI, but he believed the devil could use people to use the AI to deceive people. I guess that's where I stand right now, but I think it's possible the devil could possess AI too, possibly. I wouldn't rule it out, but it's not what I believe. Well, my belief system, like, is the earth flat? I would say no. I've had this argument with a few people. No, the earth isn't flat. And I've gone round and round with all kinds of challenging them, and they lose every time, but it doesn't stop them from believing the earth is flat. Not hard to disprove them. But see, here's the thing. My belief system, I don't believe the earth is flat. 95% certain it's not flat. I'll leave the other 5% open because I don't think it really addresses that in the Bible anywhere definitively. Though flat earthers they twist and use verses to their end. Anybody can do that. I'm just using that for an example. Can the devil possess AI? I'd say I'm about 80% no, but he can use people to use AI in the wrong way. But I'll leave about 15 or 20% of my opinion open for the possibility that, yes, he can possess AI itself. And AI is brand new, really. What's it going to be in 20 years from now? If we still here, I probably won't be, but who knows? You know, it's brand new and it's improving every day. Well, I guess that's about it for this video. Just haven't been sleeping well. Take care. God bless each of you. Oh, somebody's thinking of me somewhere. Imagine that.